Time now in the program for some free legal advice from the Juris Doctor, James Cioffi. Jim, good to see you here.
Nice to see you, Kurt.
I have to tell you, I'm as guilty as anybody about this, saying it's just a standard contract. But you don't think contracts are so standard.
No, not especially here in Florida, Kurt. There are two standard contracts approved by the Florida Bar and the Florida Realtors Association. One is an as-is contract where the buyer has the right to have inspections and can terminate the contract if they don't like the results of the inspections. Right. And the other one allows the seller to make repairs. But in addition to that, there's a third contract approved by the Florida Realtors that allows for business days versus calendar days. So between all of the contracts, we want to make sure you know whether there's a calendar day time period or a business day time period.
So if it's business days and it's 15 days, it's actually what I would consider 3 weeks.
Right. No weekends or holidays.
Okay. So what about the terms of the contract? Other terms other than days?
Yes, you have to be careful because even though there are standard printed provisions, it's what you fill in that makes the contract different. And some real estate offices locally have an arbitration provision that they put in the additional terms. So you cannot pursue legal remedies in the event of a default. You have to go through binding arbitration.
Lawyers hate arbitration.
We do.
What about closing costs? They also differ.
Yes, they do. That's why it's important for a buyer and a seller to clearly understand what their closing costs are in that particular contract. There are no standard closing costs in any contract. Mm-hmm. There are customs locally, but there are no really standard closing costs. Mm-hmm.
So you have examples of people that have run into difficulties with standard contracts?
Well, one of my favorites to tell you about is the term turnkey that was used in a contract. It was including the furniture and contents. So the seller understood turnkey to mean one set of towels, one set of glasses, one set of dishes. Yeah. The buyer said, no, turnkey means everything in the unit belongs to me. So we had a dispute about the term. Avoid any ambiguous terms like turnkey.
Usually turnkey means you can just open it up and then it works.
You would think so, right? Huh. But the seller thought it meant one set of everything and not all of the contents in the unit. Mm-hmm. So
other people run into contractual problems as well? But
yes.
That's what you do.
Yes, that's why it's important to have an attorney involved for the seller and the buyer.
Mm-hmm. So when a seller or a buyer is looking at a contract, you have to look at it very carefully as an attorney.
Yes, definitely, because you want to protect their interest in the event there's a mortgage. We want a mortgage contingency. There could be inspection issues. So there are a lot of different issues from a buyer's perspective that we look at a contract that are different from the seller.
Okay. So if you're buying or selling and the contract is standard, this guy disagrees. So check it out with an attorney, James Cioffi, the Juris Doctor.
Thanks, Kurt.
Thank you, Jim.
Appreciate it.